Hey, 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 as promised, we are back with part two of Hook, Line, and Sinker, how to recognize the three-part destruction strategy. We are talking about the hook, line, and sinker piece. In part one, we covered the bait piece. And now that the line is baited, it's time for the fishermen to cast it in the water. And so we're just paralleling fishermen and people who have ulterior motives are those who appear to you as genuine, but you later on feel like that they had one sort of sinister outcome in mind since the very beginning. So once the bait is put into the water, most of us tend to latch right on because we want genuine relationships. We want to collaborate, partnerships. We want to foster collegial environments at work. We want to make platonic friendships and romantic relationships work. And sadly, that's not always the case. So once we are hooked, most of us don't realize that you can easily unhook if you feel like something isn't right. Bite down on it and then change your mind. It's like going to the store and making a purchase and getting in the car or getting home, and now all of a sudden you have buyer's remorse. I don't think this is for me. I don't necessarily think I want to engage in this. Now that I think about it, the job description on that promotion I want is going to require more than I am able to give or more than I am willing to give. So let me just not pursue that. So we can easily disconnect. But now that we're hooked by the person, it's time for them to start stringing us along. And that's the line piece of this strategy. That's the second part. So we've prepared with the bait. So they got you hooked, and now they're getting ready to string you along. That's the line piece of it. The line is where we start to believe the deception. We start to engage in the toxicity, and we become consumed by all of the drama that's happening or all of the back and forth. This is the competition piece. All of that is involved in the line. The line kind of reminds me of a fire that's just kind of smoldering along. Have you ever seen somebody light grass on fire, maybe dead grass, so that they're going to plant some more grass? Um, or like some of the wildfires that have been burning. And then you see it kind of start to slowly smolder along. That's what the line in this strategy reminds me of. But if we are not naive, if we have a little bit of life experience, if we aren't so caught up in revenge and proving a point, then it's easy for us to get out of line, get off that line, disconnect yourself from the line, hang up the line, whatever it takes for you to refocus and see your goal at the end. If that's still what you want to do that to get off of the line. And if you don't feed a thing, then eventually it dies. If you don't give oxygen to a thing, eventually it's going to die. If you don't water something, eventually it's going to die. And in this hook, line, and sinker strategy, the line piece is where we get to decide what we're going to feed, what we're going to water, and what we're going to give oxygen to. That's the key here. Some people are mature enough in life to say, wait a minute, I see the red flags. Like I ignored the flags during the baiting period and I became hooked. But now that I'm on this line piece, the line where they just, one thing after another and things aren't adding up, like we like to say, the math ain't mathing. It's time for me to disconnect from the line. The line gives you time to think because it's smoldering. So it gives you time to think about whether or not this is really what you want. It gives you time to think about your next course of action. The line is where this strategy is either going to succeed by the person, or they're going to find it with an empty line. They're going to find themselves with an empty line once they pull it out of the water. And the line is where you have the leg up, believe it or not, because for every action, there's a reaction. For every action, there's a consequence. And so, because you are not the fisherman, you're the one who actually has to decide what comes next. You have the upper hand, whether you understand it or not. Now, if you happen to hang on this line until you get to the point of sinking, there's a little more work that can be done at the very end if you know how to swim. And what I mean by that is, once you find yourself in trouble, if you know how to turn it around, you're going to be successful. If you are one of those people who just are going to throw up your hands and walk away, then the strategy will have succeeded. You will sink, you will give up on what it is that you're going after, you will let the friendship fall apart, you will let the relationship fail, you will just become a person that you no longer recognize, who is engaged in some things that you now regret and wish maybe I had taken a different course of action. So I hope it all makes sense. There's a very small chance that the fisherman throws the fish back into the water, and now you have a chance to swim away and just be done and never look back and learn from the experience. But more often than not, if you think of hook, line, and sinker, the line is where you need to make the decision about what you're going to do. And you get several chances, because people who want to destroy something are oftentimes relentless. I hope this made sense. I hope it helped. I hope it put some things into perspective, maybe gave you a little bit of a different lens to look through. Let me know in the comments if you enjoyed this and the first piece, and if there's anything else that you would like for me to cover. I am getting ready to get up from the coach's desk and complete a few other tasks before I find me something good to eat. Thank you all for tuning in. And as always, I wish you nothing but the most amazing day. Till next time, toodles.